Welcome to the Real CP Show. I'm your host, CP. Today's topic. Today's topic is called the State of Union Address. The American blacks overall got nothing. Let me repeat that. Today's topic. The State of Union Address. The American blacks overall got nothing. Let me start by reading this, since this cannot be read enough, because supremacy knows this very well, since they are the most brilliant mental manipulation force that's ever existed. And some of their main goals is just continuously to provide black pain to millions and millions and millions and millions of American blacks overall. It's brilliant. The word is called minimization. This cannot be said enough. Minimization. What's one of the definitions of minimization? The reduction of something, especially something undesirable, to the smallest possible amount. Let me repeat that. Minimization. The reduction of something, especially something undesirable, to the smallest possible amount. That is what supremacists of how they look upon the American blacks overall, by the multi-millions. They look at them with such minimization purposes. Numbers of people to just exceedingly or minimization to minimize them, while making millions of multi-millions of American blacks not even realize that they're being minimized, with very few exceptions. And that is what makes supremacists brilliant and the most awesome mental manipulation force has ever existed. Denial is irrelevant. It's purely irrelevant. On that State of Union address that I was also watching that on, it was quite interesting because, again, the American blacks got nothing. And I want to do a show for timepiece purpose, as the other different shows, because then, as I stand by what I say on this, that the American blacks overall only have half a generation to one generation left for the overall complete destruction of the American culture, the American demographics, the American black way of life, should I say. It will happen. It is going to happen. There's too many internal problems going on within American black culture overall, and there's not enough cultural counseling to address those issues. And supremacy knows that. And that is also why the American blacks overall will never, mark my words with 100,000 times on that, will never get reparations of any significance. It will not happen. And throwing carrots out and a piece of peas and some little bit of corn, a little bit of cucumber, a little bit of shredded lettuce, right? A little bit of squash does not do it. That's all what supremacists have been doing for generations. It's throwing little niblets out there to the American blacks overall. And even when it seems to be something of, wait a minute, what about that significance? It still was also more for a benefit of other different cultures, who, the ones who know who they are, arrive within this country, right, and benefit off black pain. One of the things I want to talk about is that conversation on the State of Union address about the dreamers. How many conversations, right? An uncalculable numbers of political personnel have been talking about helping dreamers out. But when it concerns helping American blacks youth out who are not one illegal immigrants, 0%, but pure 100% American citizens. The parents that now break immigration laws and laugh and get free resources, right? Food assistance, right? Getting those good old food stamps, right? Getting that free health care for the kids, never paid into the system. They know who they are, laughing. But you got personnel within, high positions, can't help themselves, follow those trails, trying to sit there and get assistance for dreamers. What, American black youth? They don't dream, right? So the system, the supremacist knows, with the help of however numbers of per se numbers of black political personnel. I'm not talking about some rarity out there. They know who they are. Some rarity numbers of black political personnel who really want to do something, but they are so outnumbered related to political pushback and minimization. Hard for them to do anything. They know who they are. But people got to help the dreamers out first, right? So let's not help out the American black youth, right? Get some type of, especially, black youth centers, American black youth centers, to help them with, technology, enhancing their technology. Not talking about just being on a darn cell phone or some uh, uh, smartphone, right? Hours and stuff like that, looking at these social media. I'm not talking about that, right? That does not enhance the probability of building their mindsets up for the future. Has nothing to do with that. Supremacist knows this, right? So various type of political personnel, they're not going to try to sit there and do anything to help out the black youth. They sure not going to get any kind of, again, technology sent specific for black folks or black youth. Not going to do that. Not going to sit there and try to help them get programs for self-confidence skills, right? Anger management. Now they're going to do anything related to getting resources for college preparation specifically for black youth, right? How to get grants, how to get that free educational aid. They're not going to help them, understand how to build businesses, business preparation, like modules or things like that. Not going to get them to do financial literacy, right? What kind of sound do we hear on that? Shh, like the wind blowing. You hear more sounds from the wind than numbers of personnel within various parts of Panama's culture and various political personnel and numbers even sellout personnel within American black culture. It's like crickets. But let's keep helping the dreamers out, right? See, the last major uh, Nationality Immigration Act was 1986, right? Where again, millions of border breaking illegal immigration personnel sat back and laughed, or not sat back and laughed, sit there and made their way up to El Norte, right? Breaking border immigration laws, laughing, and just waiting around because they knew eventually, political personnel were going to sit there and then whoop, 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 grant them legalness, right? Legalness. Go ahead and get that, eventuality of the citizenship in general, regardless. They knew this already. And here we are talking about a couple of generations again, couple of generations, 1986 to here in 2022, in the same dastardly game again. This is so obvious with the people who know these games. You don't have to know all the kind of games, just know a few games. And it's some dastardly demonic type of warpness that they're playing again. Help the dreamers out, but forget them American black youth. Does not help them get situated. So again, the state of that's State of Union address. American blacks got nothing. Terms lifestyle categories. State of address. American blacks overall got nothing. So to make sure talking about terms lifestyle categories, got to sit there and get more laws, policies, through to help the term lifestyle categories. Got to help people, right? But like person like the great James Baldwin, who is also a term lifestyle category, but was also black first, got chased out of America, not because they just wanted to go, because they got chased out through the way that they were coming across with very pro-American black uh, um, empowerment, right? And there were personnel within supremacy that didn't like that, so they chased him to another country. At the same time, he had another particular person of a different culture within an alternative lifestyle category, and you're talking about at that time too. Oh, supremacists surely didn't like that. So this person is black within a alternative lifestyle category, and then have the nerve to talk as another person within the same alternative lifestyle category of a different culture within the Padang-based culture. Oh, they didn't like that at all. And how so many people seem to forget, well, so many people don't know, right? When they had that Mildred versus Loving, right? Oh, no, 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 that's a bad thing. No, interracial marriages, can't do that. So you're talking about 1960s. That went on but that went on but a few generations ago. That you talking about? Nope, that's illegal. No, 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 interracial marriages, all that kind of stuff. It's illegal. No, we don't want that. Now again, to each person their own, but interesting. But this American dream, right? Person I'm talking about, oh, immigrants coming to this country, get the land of milk and honey, build success, but don't even realize how much black pain that they have benefit off of riding the coattails of American blacks. I don't care about if someone don't believe that's irrelevant to me. Then how is it relevant, right? So it's interesting how many examples are out there where the American blacks, I'm talking about the ones that numbers of ones within a terms lifestyle categories. I'm not talking about the sellouts, right? They think for some reason the ones that think that they're not black first. I'm not talking about the ones like that. I'm talking about the ones that may not be talking about racial constructs. They just happen to be a black person, American black, within an alternative lifestyle category. But how many of them have stories and stories and stories that they have been shown satanic, demonic, good old fashioned American black racism toward them, not because they were of a term lifestyle category, but because first and foremost they were black first. So those kind of stories again are very minimized as well, right? Because supremacists, once they have to make sure to say our term lifestyle categories and make it so generically and diluted, right? That people don't question which alternative lifestyle category person you're talking about. On somebody's show where in the 60s there was 800 different alphabets under alternative lifestyle category in the 60s. Of course not. There's no such thing as that. 50s show where there was this various alphabetical alternative lifestyle category acronym back in the 50s, because there's no such thing. 40s, 30s, right? 20s, 10, 1910s, Civil War. There's no such thing as that. But what did you have? You still had what? Super heinous Jim Crow laws segregating black folks, treating them like they were fourth class citizens, right? Before many other cultures even existed in America. But how many again now, just a route over here, a generation or two, etc., that been fed off again with black pain, a benefit of black pain, right? And that goes for certain sections within alternative lifestyle categories. Who know who they are? The ones that know who they are, right? That ride what was supposed to be specifically black civil rights, and numbers of personnel within alternative lifestyle categories have grabbed a coat and jumped on board the American black pain and made the American black pain as if that's turned lifestyle category pain. Isn't that interesting? Right? Very interesting on that. But where was the turned lifestyle categories at in Selma, Alabama in the 60s, when you got people utilizing horses to run over black folks? For what? Nothing. Just to be treated as citizens? Huh? So where are all these different alternative lifestyle categories at in 1960s in Selma, Alabama? What was that again? Crickets. Montgomery bus boycott. Where is that in the 50s? Alternative lifestyle categories, right? Where that again? What was that? Because it was about race first, not alternative lifestyle categories first. Show those water hoses were being rambled down upon personnel because they were turned lifestyle categories, or it's personnel wanted to use neutrality of gender to be able to go any kind of bathroom, or go from one area of category of gender based to another, right? Just because the person feels this way. Show again where there was segregation because of that. Of course not. But of course, millions of African ancestors, Native Black people will not bring that up. But again, from the uh, State of Union address, American blacks get nothing. Let me read you something that cannot be said enough. Also, from a book called Propaganda, that was written around 1920, so almost 100 years ago. It talks about how the conscious and intelligent manipulation of the organized habits and opinions of the masses is an important element in democratic society. Those who manipulate this unseen mechanism of society constitute an invisible government, which is the true ruling of our country. Let me repeat that again from a book called Propaganda. I'm just reading just a piece. The conscious and intelligent manipulation of the organized habits and opinions of the masses is an important element in democratic society. Those who manipulate this unseen mechanism of society constitute an invisible government, which is true ruling power of our country. Okay, what are you talking about? That's the If you don't understand what I'm talking about, they got numbers of American blacks that don't realize what is going on. Even from that piece of excerpt from the book called Propaganda. Think about this again. State of Union address. American blacks overall got nothing. At the same time that anti-Asian hate propaganda, right, was going on strong again. Got to make sure to help out. When we say Asian personnel, and millions of American blacks don't ask the question, which Asian people are you talking about? When you say Asian, that's a very broad terminology, right? That's a very broad terminology on that, right? But it doesn't matter. Just saying the word anti-Asian is enough, right? By however numbers, even a black political person who know they are. Now, talking about again those very few exceptions that see the game, but it's hard to do anything. I'm talking about the overall masses who know they are. The numbers of personnel with the Panama-based coach and other coaches, et cetera, they had own gender. They don't care none. They don't care a half a cent of a kachaka tico bar about anything dealing with American black pain for generations. They don't care about that, right? They don't care about that. So you hear this part about the anti-Asian. Again, it's propaganda. Many American blacks don't ask the question again, which Asians? So, for instance, you may have a certain section of Asian demographics that may make up 35% of across the board Asian demographics. You may have another part of the Asian demographics that make only 15%. You may only have an Asian demographics that make up 2.3%. But with supremacists being brilliant, the most brilliant manipulation force that's ever existed, they just say Asian. You see that disgusting game that is being played? And then how many times, especially last year, when they was trying to get this little propaganda going on, even by some numbers of Asian personnel themselves, who know they are. I'm not talking about the exceptions, the very few amount of personnel within certain parts of Asian culture that was trying to bring things to the forefront. Credit given to them, and keep doing what you're doing. Now, again, don't get cookies for that, right? They do it because they know it's right. It's right for them to do that. Credit for that. Overall, that just ain't gonna happen. But let me just play you something for a second, okay? This anti-Asian propaganda, right? Let's just see some for a second.
What's the issue?
What's up?
Why are you coming over here? I just want to see what you guys are taking pictures of.
Why is it your business?
Well, you know what? This is my home.
Okay, mine too. Why are you taking pictures
Where
of
do
me?
you live?
I live in Scottsdale. Why are you taking pictures of me?
Michigan plates?
Yeah. Why are you taking pictures of me?
Well, you know what? We've had problems here.
I don't care. You don't know me. Why are you taking pictures of me? And I don't know you. Do you know a lot of white men are doing racist things in this world, sir?
No.
You don't know that? You're not aware of that?
I'm a racist.
You are a racist.
I'm a racist.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay? So
what's
the
your
issue?
point? Why are you here?
Because this is a no zone.
Right? But they got that real fast, the anti-Asian, right, law, real fast, right? And last year, what was that all? They're trying to make it seem like that, oh, it's those black folks that are just going against the Asians. And you say, wait a minute, what kind of nonsensical, demonic bullfrog poop nonsense is that? Logical analysis dictates. So you're talking about 12 to 14% of the population, right, of American blacks is doing the majority of anti-Asian hatred. Do you see how the nonsensical idioticness, how that sounds? But that's the power of supremacists. And supremacists know they're just not even a piece enough of American blacks to say, wait the freak minute. They're not going to keep allowing this nonsense to continue to keep happening. They already know that. Right? They already know that. And it was let me show you something else, because again, determined by the nature of you say Asian, that can kind of have this culture and then put that culture within this mix a little bit, and have them fly under within the Asian banner, right? But really don't fit within an Asian banner. But depending where they're at, because some people like I can't really tell, but may try to fit within the Asian banner in some kind of way. He said, "What do you mean by that? Let me show you something again. Let me show you something, okay?"
Ariel sent them the video. They investigated.
Excuse me.
They want to see it shut down for good. Last week, 56-year-old Gregory Evans stopped in the Princess Market convenience store on Raleigh Road. Once inside, his family says Evans started having a seizure and was confronted by the clerk behind the counter. Cell phone video shows what happened next. The victim's sister says Evans was hospitalized after the beating, and on social media, the
Let me just, you say, well, is this person Asian? Some person say, well, not really. And again, racial identity. The person or personnel can be like, oh, well, I'm Asian too, right? Or that part of the Middle East. Oh, well, I'm over here on that. Oh, no. Well, they want to fit over here to the Asiatic or the Asian banner, so it doesn't matter, right? Regardless, the Asian banner is very trickery, right? I sit there and showed you just these couple of different ones. The first one, again, obviously that was Asian on that scenario, and you see what they said, telling these black folks, being nosy, seeing what this black man is doing. None of his darn business, right? Who this person think he is? But more Asian personnel are going to be more bold in their numbers of their anti-black rhetoric. This ain't nothing new. It's nothing new. But supremacists, the most brilliant mental manipulation force ever existed, says that they know that not enough American blacks overall are not going to sit there and call checkmate on that nonsense, right? And call out more numbers of Asian personnel that are showing anti-black hatred, right? I mean, you got to be a lost-minded person. And there's some lost-minded people within various parts of the American black culture that don't even realize the nonsense of someone just saying anti-Asian hatred. But again, statistics show totally different. Even when last year or the year before, when they try to utilize that anti-Asian propaganda, Not saying nothing happened. That's logical common sense. But to sit there and act like that there was some epidemicness of anti-Asian hatred, right? And you look at statistics, right? And though it doesn't even come close to anti-black hatred, which was the number one crime stat against a racial category was anti-black. I think the next one was anti-white. So even anti-Asian wasn't even a top two part of a list. And even anti-white wasn't even close. Obviously, not at all. That doesn't make any sense, right? But it wasn't even close to anti-black. But again, no laws passed, nothing significant of anything for black folks, right? Do you see? And it's like supremacists, like, well, what are y'all going to do about not passing no laws for you niggas and niggas? Y'all not going to do nothing. And they know that already. And that's a sad, embarrassingness of that. So when you see the Rosa Parks and the MLKs and uh, uh, the anyway, the many uncalculable number of black foremothers and black forefathers who not long ago was going through those lunch counters, getting beat down in the 60s and 50s, or 60s, well, part of the 50s, however it is. She just wanted to eat at a lunch counter. That's all. Let's eat at a lunch counter. But nope, can't eat the same lunch counter as predominant personnel because no, they weren't even concerned about numbers of Asian personnel because their demographic is so insignificant. That wasn't even worth a conversation about that, especially on the East Coast. You said, what about the what we call natives? Don't even do that. That wasn't even conversation at all. They don't have to worry about no lunch counter protests. Again, they don't have to worry about no Selma, Alabama, getting ran over by horses. They don't have to worry about, the Montgomery board bus style stuff like that because, the bus says, the back of the bus says natives back here. No, but the Asian person have to worry about stuff like that. They don't have to worry about the Freedom Ride buses getting dyno boomed, right? Because Asian personnel want to sit there and boycott, want to ride the bus freely in any place they want to go to. They don't have to worry about getting dyno boomed because they had insignificant numbers. But how many numbers of Asian, even numbers of Hispanic personnel, they don't have to worry about being dyno boomed on Freedom Ride bus. Not at all. But how many personnel within various cultures like that and some other ones get to sit there and benefit off American black pain? And again, I'm not talking about some of the good ones. So I'm not talking about the ones who know they are. So don't even play that game. Go jump into a Lego volcano. Okay? Don't about playing that game. But let's continue on that. Okay? Let's continue. I did want to show one other thing with that. Okay, hold on for a second. I think this might be it.
You know what? Y'all getting a little. I'm a female, so I'm only female. Are you serious? Yes, you hit me. No, I did not. You hit me. Oh, you're getting a whole lot. Get the fuck off me. Here at 3400 Wilson Boulevard. Get the fuck off me. What's going on here? Get off me. The address is Misha. It's down at Wilson Boulevard. Wilson Boulevard. I cannot believe. One minute. One moment. Get off me. I was not stealing. You're stealing. No, I was not. You checked my purse. Get off. You hit me. No. Get off me. Cause you're tripping.
Oh, but remember, right? Anti-Asian, right? See, this for me is such a dastardly and sinister and warpalistic disgustingness that you have numbers of black political persons who know they are that sit there and jump on board with this anti-Asian rhetoric and get those laws passed, right? Numbers of personnel with a predominant culture jumping up and down, getting those, helping right along with getting that anti-Asian law passed and stuff like that, right? Numbers of high numbers of Asian entities who there are that are about themselves. And it's interesting how numbers of personnel don't talk about how numbers of Asian personnel that only like other Asian personnel, right? But the game is that they sit there and have so much hatred for American blacks overall. I'm not talking about the small amount of Asian personnel that don't sit there and fall into that. But I'm not going to play that little silly, disgusting game. That's common sense. Okay, not going to play that. But you saw already. You saw this particular Asian woman sit there right along with this Asian man showing black pain to this black woman who said, "I'm a female." And that's another topic in itself, right? It's another topic in itself that numbers of American black women don't understand that they are going to catch it even more from different other cultures who can't even stand on mute just as much. That's a different topic in itself, right? But you saw already this Asian woman was sitting there holding this woman's hand, holding this black female's hand, right? While she's on the ground, while this disgustingness of this particular Asian guy sitting there, this this black pain in this black female's, like he's trying to squeeze off an apple, right? But again, no, what's the word for it? No anti-Asian, or no anti-black, right? Hate bill, right? Isn't it interesting? Isn't it interesting? What an insult. But so one of the last things I want to talk about, well, two other quick things. The woman, again, State of the Union address. American blacks overall got nothing. Like the women conversation, right? Supremacy or brilliancy, right? That's a whole different topic in itself relating to just saying women, right? So again, State of the Union address. American blacks overall got nothing, right? Oh, gotta talk about women. Gotta help women. Must have women. They've been oppressed. Oppressed by who? Right? Which people are still oppressing women? Do you see where I'm coming from? So that's a whole different topic in itself that'll continue to keep going. That's the type of supremacy by feminism. Now again, I'm not going to, which is controlled by who? What? Black women? Of course not. It's controlled by numbers of personnel within the predominant culture that are women. Numbers of them who know who they are. That sit there and disseminate the rhetoric with a type of supremacy by feminism, right? And sit there and lie, and they'll cheat, and they'll sit there and conflate information. They'll sit there and half white lie. They do whatever it is, whatever they need to say, do anything, half-witted, propagandize anything to deal with extreme pro-womanism, right? And it's like, do people not realize that what woman was at the highest apex for generations still, that was going against the American black woman? What? Where was this intra-racial woman harmony at? It's never been that way, and it never will be. But again, supremacy being brilliant, just saying woman. But again, the State of the Union address, right? American blacks overall got nothing. And one last thing I want to talk about, the thing which is a hot thing going on with the thing with the Ukraine. Okay, I guess I have no say either way. I have no say either way, because here it is, the American black pain system for generations that's continuously destroying the American blacks over and over again, right? Showing criminality, still showing them as if they're lazy, showing American black males as if they're about really nothing. They're just dead beasts and stuff like that. But they make sure not to show the positive, constructive American black males. They're not going to show the positive, constructive black females. We're not talking about sellouts version of American black males, American black women. I'm not talking about those kind of numbers. They're not going to talk about the males that are, black females and black males that are doing true constructiveness, right? They're not going to sit there and want to talk about the American black male that is either as custodial parent or non-custodial parent, but at the same time is responsible in upbringing that person's child or children, no matter what, if they're not not being in that particular uh, 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 girlfriend or ex-girlfriend, should I say ex-girlfriend or former wife, but they make sure not to show the American black males, the one that are responsible as non-custodials, the ones that are, or again, they're not going to talk about the deconstructed ones that are custodial fathers that are doing a thing. The system makes sure not to show that. Just the degradation part of it, right? See, again, that's the brilliance of the game. No other male, no other culture like that, no other female is shown with such degradation as American black man, black woman for so many amount of generations. And even the nerve of people that's supposed to call themselves black but are not American black. I'm talking about the ones who know they are. I'm not talking about the few that are considered black but they're not black because they have their own tribal islandistic, certain parts of ancient Africa. They know the one I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the good ones. They know who they are. I'm talking about the ones that pretend to try to share blackness, but at the same time couldn't care less about the American blacks at all, but utilize a slick version of the saying, well, they're black, but at the same time know nothing about American black pain, but slide on the radar of black. You see how it goes, right? But at the same time, you got people going to different places and we're going all that. That's sitting there taking more resources and getting everything in the world, getting all kind of resources and all kind of stuff, right? At the same time, you got some personnel that want to say, "Oh, that's personnel over here that's doing that." But at the same time, you got other cultures coming in to that continent of various parts taking over. But at the same time, the ones that are run over to America, right? I'm educated. I'm educated, right? You're educated. That person's education means nothing to the supremacist system. They like, I laugh at y'all, the ones that they know I'm talking about. Because say, look at the videos that's being shown. I know that's a different topic. I won't go into all that. So, but back to the part about the woman part. So most personnel don't ask which woman are being oppressed, right? When the 19 men in the Constitution was about women's suffrage. What was going on in 1920? What was going on then was numbers of women within the predominant culture, black women, numbers of Native women, numbers of Hispanic women. Was each one of them so unified, right? As women, right? They was holding hands. Of course not. Who are the person that you seen going down those streets in Washington and whatever other places, right? Talking about women's suffrage. Who did you see? You saw women, numbers of women within the Panamese culture. What was going on for the American black woman? None of them still was getting lynched themselves. They still couldn't go to any kind of bus. They still couldn't ride any kind of bus. They still couldn't get any kind of train. They still couldn't go any kind of park. They still couldn't go any kind of swimming pool. You see where I'm coming from? Right? They still couldn't go to any neighborhood, right? Next to the American black male, right? But at the same time, people just say women. You see this game? It's a disgusting game that's still not called check. But again, the State of Union address, the American blacks over, I got nothing. And the last thing I want to talk about, again, going back to the Ukrainian thing, I have nothing either way to say because again, just as the phases of the moon go to different phases, this situation Ukraine would also pass through as well. But one thing that's still going to remain is American black pain. I'll make this point again because the State of Union address, right? American blacks overall got nothing. I was reading something that's talking about hundreds of millions of dollars that have already been foreign aided to that region, right? I read that a few days ago, right? Hundreds of millions of dollars, right? Uh, uh, that was already taken care of to already go over there to the Ukrainian region. Now, where's that money going to truly end up? However it go. That's not even my concern on that, right? The point is hundreds of millions of dollars already going over there already. But just like that, but same during time before the Ukrainian situation, what was going on within American society, American black pain, right? But can't get no reparations. I was also reading something the other day about they said the personnel who know they are on this, right, want to request approval for about $6 billion in aid. Let me say this again: the person who know they are want to request over around six billion in aid to address the humanitarian crisis, etc. in Ukraine. Billions, along with whatever other amount that will never truly be known about in general. But just utilizing the request of $6 billion plus $1 billion to go to Ukrainian area for humanitarian crisis. You say what? How big is Ukraine again? And I'm sure some beautiful people in Ukraine, and everything, and hopefully things work out for them. Truly do. But I'm saying that the American black pain. What about that? How many Ukrainian personnel will be brought in to America, be it formally or non-formally, and get free resources themselves, right? How many will be set up with free rent, free houses, free groceries, free furniture, etc., etc.? How many, right? And that person then, if they have a child or children, right? Anyway, the system will get that situated. And how many would have that other child or children automatic citizenship? Bam, automatic citizenship, and they know they're set. That's a different other game in itself. But again, the American black pain, right? Because how many Ukrainian personnel will be considered, depending on if they have a little melanation to their skin? Some of them probably do. Some of them don't. Well, many of them don't. But how many also can be classified as minorities? Arrive in America, be classified as minorities, then access whatever other programs for minorities. Do you see how that goes? Just like that. But the American blacks, who have been the most hated people that's ever existed in America, right? With discussionality of laws put against them, segregation, Jim Crow laws, lynchings, everything in the world, Civil War, all this kind of stuff that was, for various parts of the South that want to keep the status quo and keep black folks in bondage. And various parts of the North saying, I don't want none of that up here. Hey, keep that crap down there. Right, even though various parts of the North still, various 13 colonies, whatever it is, still had parts of slavery. Right, but again, the American black pain still going on. But at the same time, people can find, want to get 6 billion, billions of dollars to go over there for the Ukraine. What, magically just find ways of getting that money situated, right? Hundreds of millions of dollars already been sent there already, right? Just like that, right? But black folks try to get the ones, I'm not talking about sellouts, but American blacks who truly have some of the most needed and opportunities that are needed, right? Where reparations can definitely help. Can't even get 10 million darn dollars. Can't even get $30 million. Can't even get type of reparations for at least American black youth. Have free access to colleges. Any college you want to go to, right grades, any college you want to go to with the right grades, right? Businesses for American black men, black women, specifically for them who want to get in businesses, right? Specifically, right? You want, anyway, the list goes on is what I'm getting at. But it can't find. Do you realize if American blacks had $1 billion reparations, what can truly up? I mean, this. I want you to stop and imagine this for a second. Just imagine, as I said, the personnel who know they are request approval for $6+ billion. Do you realize how crazy that is? Where already hundreds of millions of dollars have already went over to the Ukrainian region already. Imagine that, just one. How can somebody come up with 6 billion some darn dollars or request that to go over there? And you say, what is the GDP of the Ukraine? And see if it's 6 something billion darn dollars. But could you imagine 1 billion darn dollars? So supremacists, the most awesome mental manipulation forces that ever existed, right? Want to get that because they know they get paid whatever they're doing, wink wink, whatever, that's on them, however it go. But I'm just saying, could you imagine 1 billion darn dollars? Could you imagine personnel within the Padme's culture, the ones who know they are, that have some demonicness, the ones who know they are? I'm not talking about the exceptions. All right, if if American blacks, the ones who know they are, say, hey man, at least $1 billion is owed to the American blacks for reparation. And you know already how many ones within predominant culture are acting satanic, right? With this critical race theory thing, even though critical race theory has nothing to do with teaching youth that is more of a way advanced college level course or courses. Do you know how crazy that is, right? How satanic going with that? Because they want to hide the American black pain in the American system, right? Right? But at the same time, where are these same demonic type of war personnel within certain parts of Paname's culture not jumping up and down about, hey man, what? Billions of dollars going to Ukraine? Wait a minute now. No, 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 no. Hundreds of millions of dollars already been going over there. Where is the same numbers of personnel within the Paname's culture all jumping up and down about that? Crooked. Because they don't care. Many. It's still about looking and eyeballing what the American black personnel is doing and want to keep a status quo. And then the other cultures who know they are, ethnicities who know they are, various types of alternative lifestyle cardigan who know they are. It is about their agenda. And many of them will still sit there and dilute themselves under people of color and minority status while laughing at the American blacks who don't even know what the game's going on. And then the border breaking illegal immigration personnel sit back laughing at all. So how many people getting a benefit, but American blacks can't get no darn benefit in overall way. So again, the state of address, American blacks overall got nothing. And I want to close this by I want to read something because it is let me see if I can find it here because it was okay, here it is. Um well, let me write it for a second. I thought I had it. I thought I had it because this is something that's very also interesting. I've read this before on other different shows, but it's something that um, continuously needs to be talked about because when you have numbers of American blacks that are in such denial modes, it is a telling it is a telling story. That's all I'm saying on that, right? And I think okay, here we go. It's called The White Man's Bible in 1981. The N word or N word. We use the term N word deliberately in this book and recommend its usage in general conversation. As we have stated in a previous chapter, the second dumbest creature on the face of the earth is one who can't or won't recognize his enemies, and the dumbest of all is that creature which will actively collaborate with his enemies for the destruction of his own race. That says quite enough. I thank you for tuning in to the Real CP Show.